So.
Yeah, I told you it's just organic because like, we were talking to Alfredo's wife Melanie. She's like, okay, so what specifically? I go like, we don't plan it. I go sometimes we'll have themes with beer, but I go we don't want to put pressure on the guests like you have to specifically say this and do this. I'm like, no, and I go and it works.
Yeah, we have no list, no nothing. Hi, I'm Lisa.
I'm Keith. Welcome to Friends Drinking Beer.
Yes.
Special guest, Christopher.
Yep.
Hi, Christopher.
I'm Christopher Conrad, and I'm the owner of Badmotivator Legacy Barrels. So we manufacture mostly whiskey barrels, but I do have quite a following of beer brewers.
Nice. Okay, so the plan today is to drink more beer. And I think we'll save Christopher. Chris or Christopher?
I go by Christopher.
Christopher? Okay. Well, then we will call you Christopher.
Perfect.
We'll save Christopher's for last because, special last.
It is special.
Okay. Two things. We talked books last week, so I found my books. So we will talk about those. And then next week is my birthday, so we're drinking this beer because it's my birthday next week. What else was I gonna? Oh, just so you know, this isn't for kids. So
Yeah, you can swear.
You can swear. You can do whatever you
cut,
want.
Cut loose.
We don't edit. We don't.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
Like, oh, we said something that we're like, no.
We don't.
What they see, they get. Oh my God, it's green.
Jesus. Oh lordy.
It's like slime green.
I know, this is terrible. But okay, we'll tell the whole story. We don't edit, we don't fact check, we don't, it's like, we're all adults here, and if you choose to believe us, great. If you choose not to believe us, that's fine too. We're just here to drink beer and have some fun. Okay, so as most of our 41 viewers know, I was born on St. Patrick's Day. So this is Claim 52. So we have had Claim 52 beer before. We've had their Thicc products before, which is why it looks like
smoothie beer.
Acid green. Is that what you just called it? Acid green.
Slime. Yeah. Pretty sure I saw this in Turtles growing up as a kid.
Yeah. Oh wow. It actually smells pretty darn good. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, it's very fruity.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. That's over the top. You're not going to have 3 of these.
It's actually pretty good. 5% alcohol, heavily fruited. Pineapple, peach, kiwi, honeydew melon. That's I can tell that's the melon, and a little vanilla. So once again, Claim 52 is a local brewery here in Eugene. Here's the can. I saw it because it was green, and I figured, oh, what the heck,
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, you just got to lean into it because why not? You're born on the day. I have a one more great grandfather who was born in County Cork. So Now, being born in the country and being of the ethnicity of that country are two totally different things, as we now know. Right. We're just going to assume he was Irish. So
he's claiming Irish.
I'm 1/64th or something like that. Who cares? We can all be Irish. I'm happy being Irish.
Well, I think drinking green beer, you'll be a little more Irish after this.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
It's like everybody's Irish on St. Patty's Day.
That's true.
What did Mom give me? She gave me the beer koozie that said, I'll be Irish in a few beers.
I like that.
I like that one.
If I had a shirt that said that, I would wear it on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Are you doing any? Are you going to any of the?
Yes, I am going to the Pint Pot.
Pint Pot. I love Pint Pot. I didn't buy tickets this year.
Well, Alfredo, our friend, had VIP tickets. Actually, he told me to grab a ticket, and I didn't. But anyway, VIP tickets, because they're Mug Club members automatically. If you're in the Mug Club, you get it. Mm-hmm. But he said, I'm not going to wait for you two, like me and Stacy. So he goes, I'll just pick up your tickets. I'm like, all right, well, we'll give you drinks,
Yeah.
And
they do a good job.
Oh, they do. They have the whole laid out. They have the different Irish whiskey tastings, and then they have the bagpipers and the music, and they have all the things.
And the food, I like that they
mash.
that they have 2 food because something's clinking and I don't know where it's coming from, and it's kind of driving me crazy. See, it's that. There we go. They served food out on the street last year when we were there, which made it a lot easier because then they could. Yeah, that was much nicer. So they improve every year, which is really good. So.
Yeah, I thought like, because St. Patty's Day is on Monday, they'll probably do something on Sunday. They're like, nope, we're doing it. I'm like, okay.
True to the day.
And that's why I was like, I'm gonna get off work a little bit earlier because I go, I don't want to tear it up on a Monday. I still have to like go into work and be, presentable on Tuesday. So
that's why I was just.
So that's why
like
day drinking is encouraged.
I started my day.
That's what you do.
I started my day at 4:03 a.m. this morning. Got back at 6:30. We were down in the field clearing at 8 a.m. or maybe 8:15. I had to stop because then I have to go into town and go to work. So by the time I got to work, I was like, I'm tired. I'm so tired already. So
you have to get used to getting the groove. Before I forget, I'm already belching.
I know this is because
so
sucked it down. It's so thick, but it's so good.
So you'll find out Christopher's background, but like I said, it's mostly the barrel for whiskeys and spirits, but he also does beer. And we turn. I'm like, so I'm telling him about the blueberry fields. I'm like, yeah. And I go. If you're on Lisa's special list, she'll invite you out. And you can pick blueberries, and
you're on the special list.
Okay. And he goes because we've been thinking about getting some blueberries and brewing a beer, and I'm just like, all right. I go, you need to talk to Lisa because I go, the guys at Ale Salon always say it's a good idea, and Lisa says, but you guys got to come out and pick or send
you need to pick them.
Yeah, and so I go, we actually need to make this happen because it's before July. So I said, you talk with Lisa because I will join the crowd and just like that because I know down the line there's going to be something really awesome that comes from these blueberries.
Well, so the thought was actually a blueberry wine.
Ooh.
So I
can do it.
I'm multi hats. So
we love many hats.
Actually,
or port.
Well, that's exactly port. So
blueberry port wine. Think about it.
Tawny.
Right.
Imagine
I love tawny ports.
See?
Well, so I would do more like a vintage style. So it would hold more of its sweetness. The issue with tawny ports is tawny ports are they're barrel aged, but they barrel age with more headspace, so there's more oxygen in the barrel.
Okay.
And that causes the tawny flavors or the oxidized flavors in port. Now, if you look at like a ruby port's normally aged in stainless steel, so it has all of that. It has all of that like sweetness and the floral notes.
Okay.
But it feels like it's lacking something that you get in the tawny. Well,
like body.
Like body, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So a lot of the body
that oak usually pulls in,
brings it all together. Well, so there's another type, so vintage port. So a vintage port is like a ruby port, but it's aged in a barrel. And then they'll take exceptional years. So only certain years are going to be considered exceptional and are high enough standards to make a vintage port.
Wow.
So actually, Alfredo and I, we made a port last year. We used 2021 Zinfandel. And specifically, we used Ancient Vine Zinfandel. So this was from a vineyard in Lodi, California. And these were over 100-year-old vines.
Was it attached to a winery or was it?
No, this was just
somebody.
It was an older wine, it was an older vineyard, and so we were able to purchase the grapes, which was great. And they're just these little itty bitty, like really, really tart grapes, like terrible grapes. They make amazing port.
Yeah,
well, I know. Yeah,
you're gonna
sometimes
eat it,
it's
but you're gonna
like this is terrible in the raw, but
right. Well, and it's one thing to like believe that you make a good product. Badmotivator, I sponsored the Newport Seafood and Wine Festival, their amateur wine competition this year.
Oh, fun!
They won.
Well, I was going to say, it's like the only reason I submitted the wine was because it's like, we're sponsoring this as a company. It's like I want to support it, so I entered the wine that we made, and we got best in show.
Best in show.
Nice, nice. It's almost like you knew, but how would you have known?
Well, and it's one thing to believe that you make a good wine or a good beer. It's another thing to take it to a competition and have somebody else agree with you.
Yeah, someone else judge it. No, the reason I ask is I do have a girlfriend who is big in the wine. She does wine tours, and in that Lodi might be a little, because she's in the Santa Rosa and all of it, but she knows most. And her friends opened Acorn Winery, and same, all old, very, very old.
I mean, a lot of that stuff was planted
grapes,
in the 20s, like pre-Prohibition. Like a lot of these were saved just because they were making jam during Prohibition.
Nice
jam.
Jam.
Well, there was a company in California, and I can't tell you what the company name was, but during Prohibition, they would squeeze the juice out of the grapes, and then they would sell the grape skins, and they would dry them out, and they would sell them as a brick. And on the instructions, it would say, "Don't turn this into wine." They would say, "Well, no." They would go further, and they would say, "Don't add this much water to this brick of wine. Do not add this much sugar. Do not add bread yeast. And after 2 weeks, it will not ferment into wine." And they would give you instructions, and they would just
to do it.
It was exactly how-to instructions that said "do not" at the end of every line.
Do not.
I'd be like,
How
see,
funny.
we're not making sure
we told people not to do it. Like, that would be illegal.
That's funny. I've never heard of that. But I'm not surprised.
We're obeying prohibition laws.
Absolutely. To the T.
We're capitalizing the do not. Do not age this for exactly 6 months when it's absolutely delicious.
Do not date this and then check it. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Okay, so there was something, so I'm not, I fell in with a bunch of wine drinkers and didn't know anything about wine and thought I didn't like wine because, Asti Spumante was about where I landed.
You're a beer drinker.
Well, and it was sweet. And then we used to go on, wine weekends, and I don't even remember, and I don't have the bottle because I lost the bottle, but I fell in love with this tawny port that was just, it was so good. And I learned enough and I know enough now. Like, I know that if I need a bottle of wine, I'm going to go find Ridge Winery because I like Ridge wines. They always make a good standard product. It was one of the first ones that I liked. So, okay, great. Other than that, no, I don't really know much and I don't experiment with it much. But tawny port, I'll try any tawny port.
This is good.
Well, some of them, most are, yes. I have
There's some
tasted
people
one or few, but
find
I've
it's
never
too
tasted
sweet,
a
but
vintage port. So
so that's one thing. That's one thing to keep your eye out for. So look for a vintage. Well, because it's going to be fruitier, so it's going to be more true to the grape as opposed. And the thing about tawny port is oxidized, and that's part of the process. So that's where you get like those nutty notes that you get in tawny port, as opposed to that nuttiness. You're going to have more of the bright fruit flavor coming forward.
Wow! I cannot wait to have a blueberry port.
That's what I'm saying.
And
she'll give you dates, and I will help get whatever amount that you need.
I need honestly, I need like 30 gallons. I've driven past your house numerous times. It's like when I looked on
doable.
The Google Street Maps, I'm like,
yes,
this is the place.
We have 2,200 bushes down there. Some of them are non-producing because they're either too old and we haven't
culled them yet.
We haven't cut them down and but. You guys drove by the best 10 rows. So those are the rows that we've been, we go and pull the blackberry, a couple times a year. And we're slowly cutting the rows down and basically reconditioning them. Because we know that those bushes are at least 25 years old, if not older. And I don't want to dig them out because what would I replace them with?
And the only difference was just last year, for some odd reason, is like the season was earlier.
The season was early because we had, and this year we didn't get as much heat in February, which is good because my trees are not blooming right now, which is great. They bloomed in February, the bees flew, and then we had freezing cold, and that killed all my fruit. Which okay, fine.
We had like that,
but the blueberries loved it. The blueberries
spring.
The blueberries just went nuts, and they're already budding, and it's going to be a good year again this year. So we tell everybody to bring their 5-gallon bucket, and you can fill a 5-gallon bucket if you're diligent in 40 minutes. I mean, it's so fast and so easy, and we have blueberries as big as your thumb and blueberries as tiny as, so yeah, the field will ripen at different times. So
do you have several varietals?
We have
do you know
many.
What they are?
We have no. They're all high bush.
Okay.
Although now I'm not thinking, because some of my high bush isn't growing high anymore. So maybe those weren't.
Means it's not high.
They were low bush. So, but as far as I can determine, we have at least 6 varieties out there, and they're all tasty as heck, though. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's hard for me to not gather and then taste. Like, Keith, how much? How come you don't have much? I'm like, well, because I ate a quarter of them. But here's this.
It's like,
yeah.
It's like, why is your bucket empty? Why are your lips blue?
I don't know.
It just happens.
But I'm going back.
Yeah. All right. What did you bring for us, Keith?
So this is Orval. And as you can see, very little on the label and on the back. So I actually had to go do a little homework. And so this is a Trappist beer. And here's what I looked up about Trappist beer. For it to fall into the Trappist category, it actually has to be brewed at an abbey. And there's even this little tidbit that like one person on the staff has to be like a monk, believe it or not. But it's a Belgian style, and typically those of the Trappist variety, I have to say it slow or I butcher it, have Brettanomyces. Brettanomyces. See, that's why I have the subject matter expert. And you're saying like, what is that? And so it's a particular high grain yeast that typically comes out with a dry finish, but also means that you can age it. So this is good to drink as it is, but if you wanted to age this for a good 1 to 2 years, you won't get anything more out of it like that. It changes the complexity and makes it even better.
Right. So normally yeast that we use in beer would be like Saccharomyces cerevisiae, would be the Latin name for it. So Brettanomyces would be a Brett finish. So usually, like I perceive Brett as like kind of a barnyardy kind of note. A lot of like farmhouse style beers have a Brett infection.
Seen those, right?
Yep.
And I usually stay away from like the sours, but I'm really looking forward to this. It has a nice fruity smell.
It does. And I love the color. It's got a really nice kind of caramelly color.
Well, and it almost reminds me like
and
a wheat beer.
The head on it was quite crazy.
Good color.
On both of them. Both
6.9% ABV. Yeah.
So
and it's out of Seattle.
That's probably where they imported it from.
Yeah, they import it from.
Unless there's an abbey in Seattle.
No, because it says product of Belgium, so that's why I'm like, wait a minute, it's a Belgian. It really is a Belgian.
Yeah, and we've had quite a few Trappist ales on this show, and we like them. This one's good. It ranks right up there. And
yeah, because if when I read it, I'm like, oh, dry. I mean, I like it, but I'm like, wait a minute, I had a Trappist that wasn't dry. So it's dry, but it's also fruity. So it's not that little.
Yeah, it's got a crisp
right.
finish. It doesn't have a very heavily sweet finish like the Thicc. Oh my gosh, but that went down so smooth and green. Who knows how they made it green, but that's okay. We'll live with it. I just hate back in the day, they would just, the little green food coloring bottle would be under the bar, and they would just drip. Oh,
don't do that.
It's fine. Beer's
like red dye number 6.
Yeah, we don't need the beer green. We just need good beer. So
that is ridiculous. Your expectations are way too high.
Yeah.
Just make it good. Excuse me for wanting decent beer. Okay.
Life's too short for bad beer.
Right. So
I wrote a shirt that said that too.
I know. So our last video with Brandon, we were talking books. And remember, I disappeared. Well, I found the book. And it's Beer Hiking in the Pacific Northwest. Mm-hmm. And I flipped it open to Oregon, and it's got Washington, Oregon, and California. And you'll never guess, Spencer Butte, where should you go? Falling Sky.
There you have it.
So that was pretty funny.
So if you get that book, oh my God. Yeah, so as all the hikes, it tells you all the things about elevation and difficulty for hikes. But it says the closest place where you can get a beer afterwards. And if you're like, I'm with people that don't like beer, of course you can get a cider.
Wild ride for Smith Rock. I've hiked Dad
Well, see,
lived near
that's funny
Smith
because
Rock.
I'm going
And
to hike Smith Rock, but it's in Bend, but Wild
Wild
Ride's in
Ride
Redmond.
Brewing, just north of Bend.
Yeah, so
Brewers
Redmond.
Breaker,
I'm
Wild
like,
Ride
if
Brewing
we're
is
in
carving
Bend,
out a
we
flavorful
don't have to
nation
go
of
to
their own.
Redmond for beer.
Okay.
I mean, I love Wild Ride. Don't get me wrong. I love some Wild Ride. That's why I go to Redmond for Wild Ride. But
Is there another reason to go to Redmond?
I have not figured it out.
There's an airport.
However, no. Wait a minute. The
Wow.
one solo ace hole-in-one I got was at Juniper Golf Course in Redmond. So I gotta give props to that. But normally, yeah, you're going there for Wild Ride for the beer. Beer slushies. That's another good thing. If you've never had a beer slushie, you haven't lived.
Is Brewers Union still open? Anyway, okay, sorry. But fun book. And, it gives you all the hiking information and then the type of beer that they think that you might enjoy after a hike.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really fun. It's
After
a great
a good
little
hike.
book. And I think I lied. It doesn't have California, British Columbia. It's British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. So yay for that. And then the other book I pulled out was Together at Last, Cookies and Beer.
Does it tell pairing?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Carrot cake cookies with two-hearted ale. So they even, it's really fun.
And you wouldn't think
cakes.
that like beer with cookies, but we've seen people who can pair them, and now people are into it just because it's that time of year for Girl Scout cookies. About like here's the beer that we would suggest to pair with which of your favorite Girl Scout cookies. So it's a thing.
So which one goes with Thin Mints?
Well,
probably an IPA.
Get a load
Come
of
on,
these.
you know the best Girl Scout cookies are Samoa's. You know it.
Yes.
You know it. I know it. The American people know it.
All about the Thin Mints.
I'm not a mint person.
Probably goes with the double IPA and the Thin Mint. You
Vanilla
should try
basil
it. Dip
shorties.
it. Have it.
I'm thinking like a milk stout.
Are you sure? Because I feel like the chocolatey would offset the oatmeal
But
stout.
there's going to be chocolatey in the oatmeal stout.
Oh my gosh, look at that picture.
Almond apricot white chocolate.
That is a cookie and a beer. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I have made a bunch of these cookies. They're really good.
I'm willing to do that experimentation.
For science.
For science. Let's 19 boxes of Thin Mints and all the beers we can find.
Every beer we can find.
So
16 tons is going to make some money this time.
Oh
That's
my
right.
gosh, so funny.
Well, hold up your last one.
Well, okay, but I will. So
Are you doing setup?
So anyway, yes, as some of you know,
I get anxious.
Keith had a run of car trouble. Let's just call it. That was crazy. There's more. So if you guys want to drink more, and one of the things that got lost was your beer
My
log.
book of beer.
So anyway, so I found this cute little beer log, which I don't keep a beer, and I know there's the app on the phone.
Mm-hmm. I don't do it. I don't no reason for me to be on my phone.
But this just came in the mail today, and it has a quick little, characteristics of beers, and then it's really cute. Date, place, beer name, style, ABV, brewer, price, appearance, aroma, taste, mouthfeel, and overall impression. And did you drink it on draft, bottle, or can? Which we've had this ongoing discussion. Can people tell the difference if it comes from draft, bottle, or can? The same beer. So
does it have a place where you can rate it?
Rating. And the rating is a cute little beer mug.
See, that's just nerdy enough for me.
I know, and it's small, so it fits. I love it. I'm gonna actually try
for Brewfest.
to start logging some beers, because this man keeps saying, "Well, where did you drink it? How and blah blah." I don't know.
I don't know. That was 6 beers ago.
Yeah,
it was
seriously.
delicious.
It was awesome. And did I remember the name of it?
No. You should have had it though. It was delicious. Do you know? I don't know.
See, my problem with beer tasting is I get to sample number 6, and then everything after that is just good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And everybody's
it's
wonderful.
like for the first 6, I can analyze them.
Like this is like, oh, I go back for this.
Well, it's like I can identify flavors, and then after a while, I'm like, that's just good.
It's just good. You're good.
That's good.
I just met you, and I love you. You're good people. Yeah.
6. That's my number.
I've made very fast and intimate friends at beer tastings and never seen them again.
That's right.
It's like, sorry, all the people
you
I've met.
A picture we were like an arm in arm and singing. Yeah,
we
Did
loved
you get
it.
their number? No. We had a great time. We were really close.
You just had to have been there.
Until the end of the brew fest.
That's all. Yeah, we are literally fair weather beer friends.
That's right. But it's good when the next time you see the event and they're like, you, I can't remember your name. Yeah, we were both drunk.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you wait long enough, we'll be drunk again.
We'll be drunk again.
And I'm old enough now where I don't care. I know you. I can't remember your name because guess what? I haven't seen you in 3 years. So why would I remember your name? I don't say that out loud, but come on, seriously.
I know we were here. We enjoyed good beer.
Yeah, and can you just remind me of your name again? I don't try to.
Was it lanolin? Like sheep's wool? All right.
So Keith needs to work on his listening skills.
I do. I do. That's why I need to write shit down.
I have a friend who has face blindness.
Face blindness?
Yeah, so she sees you, but it's a thing. And anyway, she's a stand-up comedian. So you don't know how many times she meets other comedians backstage, and they're like, Jackie, I've met you 5 times.
Well,
and every time it's all new to her. It's like she doesn't remember their face. She doesn't remember
nice to meet
anything.
You. Like, we've known each other for 4 years.
Yeah.
So
we literally were on stage together a week ago, and you still
face blindness.
Face blindness.
Look it up.
Yeah, it must be really frustrating.
And she to the point where she's just every time it happens, she says, "Yeah, that's me."
Everybody's a stranger.
Yeah, it's all new to me.
Well, and what's really weird is, like humans in general, like we find faces everywhere. Mm-hmm. You look at a mountainside, you're like, I see a face. And somebody with face blindness, it's like they just don't. It's like they look at you and it's like they don't register a face.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, really crazy.
You can be invisible. That has potential.
Right, like, I don't recognize you because you changed watches.
Don't worry, I'm supposed to be here.
Are you?
Are you? How'd you get in?
I don't know.
As long as there's samples, we're good.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. I'm drinking more slowly than the two
No,
of
you can savor it. You can
feel bad. You guys can move along. You can do whatever you want. There's some more beer there if you want it. So
Keith's ready for more.
Yeah. So.
Do you want some more? Or are you good?
It's actually really good. Like I said, I don't normally like Brett beers, but it's so subtle, and it provides a nice background flavor. It's not like this overwhelming Brett flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, sometimes I see Brett as like a farmhouse. It like starts to get into like a gym sock funk, and it's just not there.
We call it blue cheese, not gym sock.
That sounds so much better.
No, but there's
and
people
I love you get that. Oh yeah.
There's people though that stay away from Belgians because they find it too they're maltier, and they're supposed to be, but they find that maltier like, oh, it's too sweet for me. And I'm like, this wouldn't be. This wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, I don't know.
It's a hint of sweetness. But
try this. Yeah.
It's right. Good. It's very nice, middle of the road.
Well,
it's not sweet. It's not bitter.
One of the things that I just found in it was a lot of softness. So that's kind of why I was saying it reminds me a lot of a wheated beer because of the softness in it.
I would agree with you. Oh my gosh.
Monks know what they're doing.
They do. It's better than water.
Well, there's water in it, so we're hydrated.
But it's better. They made the water better.
Getting their water in.
Yes.
I mean, it used to not be safe to drink water. So
that's absolutely. And then
just a throwback to those days.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't trust water. I must drink beer.
You can get Giardia from water.
Oh, I know.
Drink the wrong water.
That can really screw you up for literally the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
I'm just arranging glasses, making things happen.
Okay. You crazy man. You're so weird.
Save the little
weird.
delirium.
So how did you get into? You have so many interests. I'm just going to say, how'd you get into alcohol?
You know, at a young age, I found alcohol very interesting.
Oh my God, were you one of the kids that broke into your parents' liquor cabinet and then refilled the bottles with water so they didn't know that
You don't
were
have to confirm or deny that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think growing up, my dad didn't realize that Jack Daniels wasn't supposed to be 60 proof.
This is heavy for Jack.
Wow, this is real. Tastes more like apple juice.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
No, so I got into, I started life as a winemaker, which was really interesting because a lot of my friends gravitated towards beer.
Okay.
I gravitated towards wine, and a lot of it was the trick, or the thing about wine is you start with the highest quality fruit you can, and you try not to ruin it.
Okay.
So it's like through your inputs, you try not to drastically change the flavor profile.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I crossed over to the beer side and I started making beer, I really felt like ham-fisted because it was that whole, if you don't like the flavor, just throw more stuff in. Mm. And it's really taken me, literally decades at this point to get to a point with beer where I'm like starting to identify those nuances and how to manipulate the ingredients to get the flavor profile that I'm going for.
Fun.
Mad scientist.
Mad scientist.
You had to figure it out.
It's a lot of luck.
No, it's skill.
A lot of cleaning,
figuring it out. Right. Saying like, this is what I'm never going to do again. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm going to do more of.
It was like, this one failed. What did we learn from it? This one failed. What did we learn from it?
Right.
And you just keep failing over and over again. I remember I did it's probably been about 20 years now. I did a coffee stout, and the worst beer I've ever made. It's like, terrible. Well, and I
what did I do? What happened?
And you're talking to two people that even
don't like
the best coffee stout you ever made. We
don't like
terrible.
it because of the coffee flavor.
Well, so it's like I made this coffee stout and terrible. So I poured so much of it out. Well, I had happened to have a case of beer that was like in the corner of the basement. I couldn't find it. And so it somehow survived the culling. And about 18 months later, I found that case, and I'm like, I'm going to pour this out. I'm like, well, I'm going to taste it before I pour it out.
Of course,
aged a year now.
It was amazing.
It just needed to age.
Oh my goodness! Well, and I had no idea because part of it was this is me getting into aged beers, and that was kind of my foray into it. It's like I'm going to try this thing that I've never done before, and I'm going to learn something.
Right.
And what did I learn? Hey, if you age a beer that needs to be aged, it tastes better. Like
that. Yeah. You got to just time. Time is the ingredient that you just
and patience.
Right. Patience is the thing that is taught to us. Like I can tell you patience all day long. You're going to have to learn it the hard way.
You just described my life the hard way. That's why we've had this discussion about just put this beer away for a year and a half. I'm like, no.
How many times have I
Let's drink it now because it's good now.
That'd be great if you just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait.
I still have one. Yeah, Keith has beers all over the place. I've got some in my closet, and a bunch of his friends have.
It doesn't exist.
Beers
it's ready
with Keith's name on it. So
and they just show up when they're properly conditioned.
Like what? This is back from 2022.
This is amazing.
This is amazing. It's so smooth.
I know. I saw Matt at Ale Song, and I told him we drank his last beer from was it Oakshire?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he said, "Well, did it hold up?"
We're like, "Yeah."
I said, "Well, we were expecting it not to."
Yeah, like
9
this could 9 years. Like that's probably too long.
Even for a dark beer.
Yeah, we're just like
the alcohol content. Like if you're up over 10%, like it'll hold that.
Well,
but back then they didn't do the high ABV. It was like what 6.5 or something.
No, it was higher. It was closer to 9, right?
Yeah,
but anyway,
right.
The only thing that was different was now if you age a heavier, a higher ABV beer, you tend to get that mouthfeel is thicker. It's a little so the mouthfeel on this was thin.
Yeah.
But that being
so good flavor,
because,
but like a thin for a stout. So
right?
well,
because
weird.
they probably didn't even.
Right. So
it was 9 years ago. A lot has changed.
So for those
aging dark
yeah,
beers,
so for those
and
people who are like, ooh, I don't like stouts because they're so heavy. Like, try this, and it's been aged. You're like, oh, okay, that's not that heavy. You don't feel like you had a meal.
Right.
Yeah.
So
no, it was
Bread in
good
the
for a
bottle.
9-year-old beer. It held up very well. And we're the worst actors because we're not actors. So we were all expecting to not right to have it.
We're gonna try this.
It go bad, and you will know if it went bad because all three of our faces will show it. But no, it was actually good. It held up. So yeah, I told Matt, it's like, yeah, you did good. You did good. Yeah, it was so old that the label was faded.
Well, and a lot of it depends on where it's stored. Like if it's stored in a cellar, like if it's properly cellared, as opposed to sitting in the cupboard above the
stove.
Right. Well, I was thinking the cupboard above the
cool.
refrigerator, but still, yeah, it's always going to be in the higher temperature. So it's like if you keep it at around 55 degrees,
right?
Yeah, 55, and it has a stable humidity, and depending on the bottle and how the bottle was crowned, if it's a higher quality crown, it'll keep out oxygen longer. Some of the cheaper crowns will fail after a few years. So
I think Rick did it. Rick knows how to store his
cool,
beers.
And moist.
Oh my God! Are you talking about yourself again?
Your words, not mine.
All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about this barrel.
Yeah.
So this is a barrel this is a beer that I made last year.
Okay.
And I've got some notes on it. So this was a chocolate milk oatmeal stout.
Whoa.
So this was definitely the kitchen sink beer. The hops that I put in here were actually grown in my friend Alfredo's yard. So this is a homegrown hop. Wow. And then there's lots of chocolate malt in here. There's Maris Otter was the main malt that we used, and we added some.
I'm nodding like I know what that is.
Of course, sure.
Yeah. It's chocolate malt.
Yeah, so Maris Otter is a really flavorful base malt.
Ooh, okay.
So this has a lot of flavor built into it, and then this particular beer has been aging since October, so it's not done aging yet.
Okay.
It's only about 6 months. I want it to really go about 2 years, so we're just going to draw some samples of it today.
Okay.
But this is inside a rum cask. So this is an old rum barrel. And
it gets rum notes.
Right. Well, and the history of this barrel is actually really interesting. So I'm kind of a history snob.
No.
Barrel snob. So this barrel was made in 1955.
How do you know that?
Because I bought the whole barrel.
Okay.
And so the wood itself is from a barrel that was produced by Jack Daniels in 1955. And then after that, it went to Hiram Walker up in Canada until 1981, where it went down to the Caribbean and was used to make Caribbean rum until about a year ago when I bought it and brought it back.
This wood travels.
This wood has been all over the world. I mean, this wood is literally 70 years old.
That's insane.
So,
because I'm used to like, hey, the barrels are done, right?
You're used to younger wood.
Well, yeah, I guess. So, you're funny. I just got it. I'm tired. Children? No children. No children. None.
So I made this. So this is one of the barrels that I make at the company. This is a 1.8 gallon barrel. I also make a 5 gallon version. And by having a stainless steel container and only having wood on the front, I'm able to control the amount of oxygen that's able to get into the beer. Okay. And it slows down the oxygenation rate. Mm-hmm. And that's really important because it allows me to age the beer in the barrel longer. And it's going to slow down some of those chemical reactions that happen in an oxygen beer environment. And so I can really control how that flavor changes. So just like with the tawny port, where you would have half the barrel is empty to allow more oxygen, and it allows it to oxidize faster. With beer, generally we want to oxidize slower so you can maintain those fruity malt notes. And also,
is it just association that now I'm smelling chocolate.
Could be.
Haven't opened it yet.
I am smelling chocolate. Where the hell is chocolate
I'm
coming
3
from?
feet away.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Ah!
All right, so I think we're ready to take some samples.
Okay.
The nice thing is that these barrels have a spigot on them, so it makes it really simple to take a small sample.
All righty.
All right.
And if you spill on my carpet, I don't really care.
Let's give it a little bit more. All right, that's probably good right there. All right, there's the first sample. So this has not been carbonated. So normally beer is going to be either bottle conditioned, where it's carbonated in the bottle, or it's going to be force carbonated, where you use some sort of kegging system to force carbonate it. So there's 0 head on this, and it's going to be very flabby. But we get to taste where the beer is headed, and then we can kind of make a decision on how much longer we want to age it. But I've already kind of decided that I'm probably going to age this about 2 years.
So 2027.
2027.
Okay.
Are you
Smell
still,
rum.
are you still smelling chocolate?
Oh, fuck you.
Well, so you say rum. I smell a grassiness from the hops.
Yeah, I'm smelling that. Oh, just FYI.
I smell excellence.
We've had 1,000 conversations about the fact that genetically, I have no taste. I can smell, but I can't really taste. And then when I started, my brother, he thought he, quote, burned out his taste buds when he was a teenager. That's a total lie. He never had them to begin with. Mom, same way. So we know this is a genetic thing. But when I started tasting wine with my girlfriends, they were all saying, I was, it's bright, it's green, it's this, adjectives, no foodstuffs, no nothing. So when I say I smell rum, it's because it's reminding me of when I open a bottle of rum, and that's what I smell. So I don't know if it's actually rum, but that's what it.
You smell sweetness.
That's what it reminds me of.
I smell a lot of caramel. I smell a lot of malt sweetness.
Yeah, it does smell sweet.
Yeah, that hop.
And it's sharp. Like you smell and it's there. So.
So again, very flat.
Well, because there's no carbonation.
Right, it's not
Right,
carbonated.
But you get
well,
where
that's
the flavor's going to go, though.
Right, exactly. So that's all going to get punched up once we carbonate it. So we'll carbonate it either in the bottle or we'll carbonate it in a keg and put it into bottles, or we might just leave it on tap. Put it in the kegerator.
So compared to your average oatmeal stouts, which has that little, that earthy, you're having like a meal like beer. This is kind of softer. So I think, does that come from the rum barrel?
Well, some of that's from the rum barrel, but also some of that's just going to be from the barrel aging process itself. So the barrel aging is going to break down some of those tartar short tannins and allow it to create more complex tannin structures. So as time goes on, it'll get more and more mouthfeel. So right now,
It's very
I
thin.
see it very thin, very lacking. There's a lot of caramel there. Like I said, the chocolate note's definitely there. So I'm just waiting for those to kind of come together and pull together.
Yeah, because I'm not. Once again, when I drink a chocolate stout, I expect some, and this doesn't have it in the full force that I would think. But once again, right, it's new. So it needs to...
2 more years.
2 more. Oh my gosh. So how many more times we get to taste this before the 2 years are up?
So I'm trying to envision, what's going to be with the carbonation to it. I'm like, okay. I mean, I remember the first time, because there used to be a time, I don't know if I told you this, where I did not like dark beers. But this was years ago, and people are like, why don't you like dark beers? I go, because the majority of the porters and stouts, especially stouts at the time, were all coffee-based.
Right.
And I'm like, if that's the thing with stouts, that everything is going to be coffee-flavored, then I guess I'm not going to like it. Not to have anything about I don't even think about dark beers as a whole, like my brother, the beer racist. But it was like, it tastes like coffee out like the top. And then there was the wonderful evolution where people were just like, oh, we're going to make it taste like chocolate. I'm like, all right, you're gaining acceptance, number 2, keep it coming. And then like, and now we're going to bourbon barrel age, right in my wheelhouse. And then some people are like, how come you like dark beers now? I'm like, because they're better.
Yeah,
they add the flavors. They change the complexities.
They add
like,
nuts.
Yeah,
not
like,
peanuts. I hate peanuts, but the
yeah,
hazelnuts.
but well, those like we'll have like this one's like
just
chocolate and
hazelnut
hazelnut and
so
yeah.
So.
And I'm like, yeah, and then we're gonna age it in bourbon barrels, so it has that little. I'm like, I like where you're at. Keep going, keep going. I hope it's a trend that never dies.
I don't think it will. There's enough of us out there and there's a broad enough range of flavors now.
Yeah. But one of the first ones that I tried, because somebody like, it's like the IPA thing. You gotta try that. You gotta join the club. And then somebody goes like, what if you had like a Blackberry Ranch? So they're Blackberry Ranch, like they give that to children.
Right. So
No,
you gotta try the triple hop.
Right. And then somebody goes like, have you ever had like 1554? I said no. I think it was at a brew festival. I'm like, oh snap. I go, yeah, I will drink this. And so this reminds me of the very first sip that I had of 1554, and that it was a little bit smoother than your average stout. I'm like, okay, I get where you're going with the flavor, and this is good, and it'll just get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll
continue to improve.
Because if it tasted terrible now,
it'll never get better.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No,
you want
this
it
is
terrible
fine.
2 years
I'll
from
drink
now?
This is great.
Well, that's one of the things I'll often say is, like with the barrels, you can take a good beer and make it amazing, but you can't take a bad beer and make it good.
Yeah.
I would agree.
It's a barrel, not a genie's lamp.
I don't know. Have you tried rubbing it?
Who knows? Oh,
who knows?
Scary. That feels like a loaded question.
I don't know. So, there's more beer in the fridge if you want more beer.
What are you? Is this like your birthday spirit? Like we can do whatever we want because it's my birthday.
Absolutely, we can always do whatever we want. It's our own goddamn show. But that being said, this isn't truly a third beer. This is just a tasting.
This is just a
tasting. So if you want another beer, I don't.
You know what? Well, what do you want?
I don't know. Just pick one of the ones that I bought.
Okay.
Yeah, just surprise me.
All right, Keith, surprise us.
Surprise us.
Don't worry, Mouse.
So,
people have trusted me before.
Is your garage like just barrels everywhere?
I think the last time I counted, it was definitely over 100.
Ooh.
So most of them are spirits. I can neither confirm nor deny how the spirits are produced, but they do end up at my house and they are in my barrels.
Nice.
I do a lot of home distilling. So I'm a pretty big advocate for people going out and starting this as a hobby.
Oh, fun.
I oftentimes find people that are in beer making, like home brewers, that are really interested in distilling as well, because it's, usually they have all the equipment they need, or if not, they're really close to having the equipment to be able to produce.
Isn't that beautiful? The artwork.
Mm-hmm.
So our friend Andrea bought this beer based solely on the artwork. She judged the book by its cover. And it's a good beer.
The Order of the Thistle Scotch Ale. So keep cold, drink fresh. 6.8% ABV, alcohol by volume.
Oakshire. So once again, another local. And whoever did the artwork, they did a couple. So it was a series with these.
What a pretty beer.
I know, it's a beautiful.
Oakshire produces quite a few really interesting beers.
Mm-hmm.
I know Keith's not a huge fan of of coffee, but their espresso stout's pretty.
Yeah, it's a staple.
Yeah.
It's a staple.
Well, and I've even considered just going down there with a corny keg and just filling up a corner can. Well, and then doing a barrel experiment with it, trying to do a barrel aged.
It's a nice dark Scotch.
You should do that.
I think it's just a matter of time. It's not really if I will, it's when I will.
Okay, so this is not sweet. The nose on this is not sweet at all to me. So it's much heavier.
Thanks, Andrea.
It's a little more bitter.
That doesn't sound like you're describing a Scotch ale that I've had.
I know, but I like it.
I immediately smell
Did your daddy feed you? Yes, was your daddy
almost like the, I don't want to say chemical because that sounds bad, but like a barley wine sort of like.
It's definitely, the more I smell it, the more toasty it smells.
Toasty.
It's toasty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, so like for me, there's like a combination of like fermentation notes coming through, but as you guys described, the toastiness from the malt is definitely coming through too.
Mm-hmm. Toasted malt. That's what I was going for.
Yum, 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 yum. It's good. It definitely offsets our green beer.
No,
we've run the gamut.
I mean, I like Irish Reds, but I probably have like I don't know, like a larger palate with Scotch ales. I've had some bad, not so good Irish Reds, but Scotch ales, like I don't remember having a bad one. I'm sure they exist, but so once again, this is pretty good.
I know, it's great. I'm gonna have a lot to write up in my little beer review logbook. So keep remembering stuff.
Take notes.
Take notes. Yep, that's the fun thing.
So this was just in the fridge at Oakshire?
No,
or did you get for the beer stein?
Market of choice.
Oh, Market of Choice. You just get this at the store?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I gotta go to Market of Choice.
That's where I got the Claim 52.
I purposely stayed
and
away
that's
from
where I
it,
sent
kinda
you
like
the
Trader
photos.
Joe's.
Sadly, I'm
Just
on a bit
because.
of a budget, so I couldn't buy the $39.
Yeah, that's a great beer. I don't know if it's $35 beer.
Yeah.
Great.
But I love Modern Times. Modern Times, just
Modern
oh
Times
my
is
gosh,
good,
they talk about kitchen sinks. Every single beer they produce is some kind of a kitchen sink. And I've been down to, I love San Diego, and I have friends that live down there, so I've been, straight from there. But I might just have to go back and buy that $39 beer because coconut and lime.
Yeah, it's like you gotta try it
and
because
Modern Times.
Yeah, you're like I feel like it's not like a brewer that you've never heard of. It's good.
Right.
But like those flavors are like that flavor combination. Like I feel like I need to try it.
Mm-hmm. And it is my birthday, and I am working.
Do it. Do it.
I had to go get a job. I've been retired for 7 years.
To pay for the beer habits?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Worth it.
Like, okay, do we keep the lights on in the house or do we buy beer? So,
I mean, it seems like an
priorities.
easy answer.
Yeah.
Totally worth the beer.
I know. Hello, fire.
I thought it was rhetorical, honestly. Like, we know what the answer is.
So I have to tell you
You
a
can
funny
drink
story.
in the dark.
So I had lunch with Mom the other day. She said, so, how's your job? Have you completely rearranged everything? Have you, set up all your processes? Because that's generally, I do things my way. And for the first... and for the first time, I'm like, Mom, no. I have met the person who understands my brain. Her processes are amazing. They are so regimented. And nothing can fall through the cracks. Every time you...
And your mom's like, yeah, so you met somebody just like you.
He's in a pod. And so today I was talking to my boss, and this is the person I'm talking about to Mom. And, however it happened, I was like, no, I was at brunch with Mom, and I told her, like, I don't have to change everything. Everything runs so smoothly. It's amazing. I love it. So I'm having a lot of fun at my job. Although we completely rearranged my office today, which was super cool because I can't sit, it turns out. I must stand. So.
Do you have a standing desk?
She bought me a standing desk.
Sweet.
And she's super sweet.
That's the right kind of boss.
Yeah. I said, I tried 3 chairs. These chairs are killing me. So.
You realize you burn more calories when you have a standing desk at work?
Well, okay, you burn X number of calories if you do nothing all day, right? Because of all the processes in your body.
Right.
Sodium potassium pump being the number one thing that burns calories. So, but have they proven that standing burns more calories than sitting?
Yes.
Okay, because
that
was a couple years ago when the standing desk came in. We didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you know? Yeah. So anyway,
you burn more calories, kind of keeping your back straight, and yeah, you do.
Cool.
Versus slouching at a desk while you're sitting,
having to engage your core.
Yeah, you're engaging your core, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm losing weight too because I'm not eating at work. Well, today I ate leftover pizza because I was working, so I took my lunch to work.
That's just carb recharging.
Yeah, there we go. So
getting ready for the beer.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I am so excited about the blueberries turning into a port. That would be so like party. Ooh.
Everything I've ever done with her blueberries has been good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so
like
I'm gonna
compote.
Well, so I'm gonna have to make a brandy from the blueberries, and then use that brandy to fortify the blueberry wine.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah. This is going to be.
All of this sounds good.
It's going to be so fun. Okay.
And he's going to be like, and we have leftover blueberry brandy. What are we going to do with that?
Oh, we're going to pour it over cake.
I don't know what we're going to do, but I know it's going to involve a cigar.
Okay. So generally the season starts July, the first week of July, and then runs for about 6 weeks. Yeah, like you mentioned last year. Yes, we started June 20th.
Right, it was early last year.
It was early last year.
The heat.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it'll be as early this year. Okay, so let's say you pick your 30 gallons of blueberries on July 1st. What's the calendar process? So you gather the blueberries, and then when do you do? Like, when is the...
Oh, he's going to make the brandy.
The brandy made, when it, like...
Well,
so how long is the process?
It would need to start with 5 gallons of blueberries.
Okay.
And then I would need to...
Which will happen.
So that's going to be your first blueberries. Okay. And then those are going to get fermented and distilled into brandy.
Okay.
And then that brandy is going to be added to a later batch, the 30 gallons of wine, because I need the brandy to halt the fermentation. So... You know, what I'll do is I'll capitalize the grape or the blueberries. So I'll get the blueberries up to a certain gravity point. So you guys know about making and fermenting liquor or fermenting wine of any sort?
Gosh,
I just drink it.
So
we are
little science.
We are non-science snobs.
Right. So a little bit of science lesson here, and I apologize, but
no, teach us, please.
So we use this thing called gravity points, and what we measure is how much sugar is inside like a beer or inside a wine before we start fermenting, and then after we start fermenting.
Is that the little thing where you pour it in and it floats?
Yeah, the hydrometer. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, I know something.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the hydrometer floats high enough. So there's enough sugar in it.
So it will be floating.
Right, so it'll be floating. And then I'm going to let it ferment about halfway, so there's still some residual sugar.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add the brandy to it, because what the brandy will do is it'll force the alcohol content to be too high, and it'll kill all the yeast.
Okay.
And so by doing it that way, we're going to preserve a lot of the floral, like the fruity notes from the blueberry. The issue with blueberry and fermenting it is that it becomes really dry and it smells beautiful and you taste it and it's like it doesn't taste anything like it smells.
Correct.
And that's one of the biggest issues that I have with blueberry wine. So by capitalizing, so adding sugar to it to get it to a certain quantity of sugar, and then stopping or halting the fermentation at the middle point, it'll allow me to retain a lot of those blueberry notes. And then it's going to be around 20% alcohol, so it's going to be blueberry port.
Okay. And when
did you take notes?
So from July 1st, 2025, when do we taste blueberry port?
The optimum time would be about 2 years later.
Ooh. Okay, you guys. So this is going to be
stay alive. So the yeast has to die.
Right.
That has to happen.
That's where the flavor comes.
Don't get attached to your yeast. It's gone.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, I like yeast. So
yeast is good.
Well,
yeast
it's
is
like
insane. It's amazing.
It's
I
good.
make bread.
Yeast has to
Right? We
take
love
one for the
yeast in
team.
all its forms.
Because the
Every
end
once in a
game
while,
is
it
the
goes a
port.
little crazy and is not good.
Well, so to give you guys an idea, like how much I care about yeast, so I wild collect yeast. So I'll go out into I've got some that are collected from a local apple orchard, and so I go out with like petri dishes and jars, and I'll collect the yeast, and then I'll use a loop. So just like in a lab, you remember lab class where you have that little loop and you put it under fire, and then I'll dip the yeast, and then I'll put it into a petri dish, and I'll grow it in a petri dish in agar, and I'll actually harvest out the yeast and separate it from the bacteria. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I'm a
Do
bit.
you name it?
They're my friends.
Okay,
So my freezer is full of different yeast strains.
that being said, I do have 40 fruit trees. You are welcome to harvest as much as you want. So
Many
that
of
might
them
be
are
kind of
yeast laden.
yeast like. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Drink your goddamn beer. Drink your goddamn beer. Oh, Lord.
So, like,
He's gonna come out here. I didn't bring enough petri dishes.
Yeah. Well, and some of it is it'd be a great idea to come out here with a petri dish and try to collect some yeast from the property, and we might get lucky and get a cerevisiae, and be able to use that as the yeast that we use to ferment the wine.
That would be beautiful. And if you do, it must be named Allard Acres Yeast, right?
Right. I mean,
Allard Acres.
right. There's no other possible name.
And I don't know how you say Allard Acres in Latin, but we'll figure it out. Right? Because we have to make it correct nomenclature.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's like I trade yeasts with friends. Like I've got.
Oh my gosh.
Do your yeast have cards?
They've got.
This is a rookie yeast.
I've got them in test tubes, and I've got notes on them, and
Oh
yeah,
my God.
it's some crazy man. I like yeast.
I like yeast.
That's
I
fabulous.
like yeast.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm a little bit nerdy about alcohol, liquor, wine, beers.
You're my new best friend.
That's right.
Off you go, honey.
No, you
Bye bye.
No,
You're
you
no
get-
longer.
No, you gotta, no, I'll be his collector. I'll be out here collecting, yeast in one hand, blueberries in the other.
And
I'm all
somehow
about the end result.
You still don't collect any blueberries. It's like your lips are blue,
I
but there's none in the
don't
bucket.
know.
They
I
were
know-
so
I know
good.
that bush is empty. I know that.
Well, it's like, why did you eat the Agar plate?
Because it tastes so good.
It tasted like beer. It had beer in it.
Oh my gosh.
Just put it in your mouth.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you'll have to get his number because my concern is that this year, like you said, I don't think this year's going to be like last year. So I think it's going to be in July. It's going to be a bumper crop, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, first weekend we just opened.
But the first weekend
Saturday
is the
in July.
4th of July weekend, and like the 4th of July is on Friday.
That's fine. We'll open them Saturday.
Yeah, because nobody does anything on the 4th of July.
No, Friday. Everybody will come late, but that's okay.
Yeah, just so
Fine.
they come. All right, but so you should get his number just to make sure, because I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I want you to get your 30 barrel.
6 weeks.
Right.
Or
well,
30
it's like-
gallons,
it's
30
the beginning-
gallons.
It's usually in Oregon, the blueberry crop. It's the first week of July until mid-August.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's every year.
6 to
And
7.
usually by the second week of August, everybody is just like, I will give you as many blueberries as you want. That's usually how it works.
That's what she does. I'm just like, at least, like she sends me away with like 2 gigantic bags.
Speaking of which,
And-
if you need more, I'm just
Yeah, and I'm just like, I ran out because
because
they're
I want them all to
delicious.
go away so I can pick new ones.
So yeah,
And
because you have
fill
to
the
clear
freezer
room
this year. Yeah.
Isn't that a problem? Too many
It's such a
blueberries.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible.
And I have a sticky note on my fridge. Blueberry smoothie. I try to drink a blueberry smoothie 3-4 times a week.
So good,
Still
so
can't get
healthy.
rid. Oh, and then the other thing is the berry that I love to hate is blackberry. Right? We spend all this time,
Well, clearing,
and it's
'cause they're
always
bases.
stupid blackberry.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, oh my gosh, do I love blackberries? So I pick, and I think I have one more bag of blackberry in the freezer. But I finished off my 4th or 5th bag of blackberry the other day because I love them.
Yeah.
Just love them.
I
So
made a blackberry brandy a couple years ago.
I bet that was good.
Well, and I aged it. I wanted to add more blackberry flavor back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually cut the stalks of the blackberry, the thorny bits.
No, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about because I don't have miles of it on my.
So, anyways, I cut the thorny bit, and I had about a 6-inch long piece, and I stuck it in the jar with the brandy, so it actually draws some of the blackberry flavor out of the stock. And
do the blackberry stalks taste like blackberry?
They do. So it's like
I will never eat a stock.
Are we still talking about fruit?
We are. So when you eat the blackberries, you know how when you bite into the seeds, there's that tart pop that you get, like that bitter pop that you get from the seeds. So that comes, the stock tastes just like it.
Oh, so you put that back into the brandy?
I did, because I wanted to add more flavor. So I did that. Yeah,
it's good.
Worked fabulously.
It was really good.
See, I bet that you need it. Talk about a T-shirt, mad scientist.
I bet that was better than anything you could buy at a liquor store.
Of course,
feeling it was.
Of course.
Well, so the thing that I've learned is I make what I like, and every once in a while I'll find somebody else that likes the same stuff that I do. So oftentimes, like commercial liquor, they're trying to produce it in such a quantity or try to get the costs down,
or even out the flavor so more people like it.
Right, exactly. And so I can really target aspects of it that I enjoy. Nice. Like we just blended a few barrels together and we made our own bourbon. And so this was, some of these barrels had 8-year-old liquor in them. Some of them had 4 years, some had 6 years, like quite the gamut.
And somebody needed to make the sacrifice and taste that, and I was there.
Right. Well, it's like we took 6 barrels and we put them up. We're like, okay, everybody taste the barrels, and then I sat there and I wrote down some notes, and we went through and we built a bourbon together as a group. So we all got a vote on what we liked and what we didn't like, and what we finally settled on. Like you have the bottle. It's, I mean, a lot of melon. There's nice caramelness. There's the vanilla in the background. It's a really interesting. And, well, we're only 3 weeks in, so it needs another.
I wrote down the date. It's like April 12th. So, like, there's a way to.
Yeah. So what I told everybody is wait 5 weeks. Well,
as long as 5 weeks.
Right.
Of your life.
Well, and so it's like I told everybody, like, there's some science going on. It's like I'm just gonna say there's this veil of secrecy known as science, and there's some chemistry that's happening inside the bottle, and we need to wait for that chemistry to happen. It takes about 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so, like Keith said, that middle of April, it's gonna just be like phenomenal. And I had a taste of it today. Like it's getting there.
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
I haven't even tasted mine. I
promise.
Sheltered it, protected it.
It's happening.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I full on believe you. You'll never guess what we've done.
What have we done?
We've talked for over an
hour. Oh, we're over an hour? Oh, okay. Go. We can do the wrap up.
Or hour 7. That's all
okay.
Good. Unless we have something else we need to say.
No, I could. Christopher, just keep on going.
That's true. That's true.
Hopefully, some of you took notes.
Yeah.
And then people are like, when do we get the blueberry port? Not as soon as you get the bourbon. It's gonna be like 3 more weeks.
We're gonna have to sit around this table and we're gonna have to taste a blueberry port.
Oh yes, of course.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So in 2 years, after we've made all our millions being YouTube stars, we'll
I think that we should taste it right after we make it. Yeah. And then we should also taste it after it's been barrel aged for a couple of years.
Ooh.
Yes.
So I'm leaning kind of towards like a French oak. So doing French oak with it as opposed to American oak.
Oui. And then we need to take it, go down to the fire pit, light a fire.
Drink some port and smoke
a cigar.
Drink some port
and have some cigars.
Yeah.
Don't act like you don't think that's a great idea.
Make some s'mores. Well, this has been a really, really fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christopher, for all the knowledge, wisdom.
Yeah, and for letting us taste plans, that. And I'm
excitement.
I really can't wait to see what that barrel turns into.
The blueberry
further down
it's
the
going
line.
in the right direction.
It
is. It's just time. So for people that want to try to find me,
please.
My name's Christopher Conrad, like I said in the beginning, and you can find me at badmotivatorbarrels.com. I'm also on the YouTubes. Nice. And on the Instagram, and on the Facebook, and on the TikTok.
Everywhere.
Bad Motivator Barrels.
Bad Motivator Barrels.
Like, subscribe, share.
Yes. And
all those things.
If all of our 41 followers told somebody else to subscribe.
And they'll tell 2 friends, and they'll tell 10 friends.
We'd have 82.
And so on, and so on, and so on.
We're going to die before we make a dime off YouTube, but that's not why we do this. Anyway, I'm Lisa.
I'm Keith. Friends drinking beer.
Friends drinking beer. Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you, Christopher.
Bye, everybody.